Welcome, everyone. Today, we are diving into the Oceanic Pelagic Zone. Imagine floating in the middle of the Pacific Ocean, thousands of miles from any shore, with nothing but an endless blue void beneath you. This vast, open body of water is the largest habitat on our planet, and understanding it is key to understanding how life on Earth survives. Let us begin our journey into the deep. To truly grasp what the pelagic zone is, we must first understand its scale. Why does this matter? Because unlike terrestrial habitats, this environment has no physical boundaries like mountains or rivers. It is completely disconnected from the coastline and the ocean floor. Think of it as a three-dimensional liquid desert, or the atmosphere of the ocean. Here, marine creatures live their entire lives floating, swimming, and drifting without ever touching a solid surface. It is a world defined entirely by the water itself. Now that we have a feel for this vast space, let us define it formally. In marine biology, the Oceanic Pelagic Zone is the entire water column of the open ocean, lying beyond the continental shelf. It strictly excludes the shallow coastal waters, which we call the neritic zone, and it excludes the ocean floor, known as the benthic zone. Because this water column is incredibly deep, scientists divide it into distinct horizontal layers. These layers are defined primarily by how much sunlight penetrates the water and the depth. Let us visualize these layers to see exactly how the ocean is structured. On the screen, you see a diagram of the water column. At the very top, from the surface down to 200 meters, is the bright epipelagic, or sunlit zone. Below that, down to 1,000 meters, is the mesopelagic, or twilight zone, where light fades rapidly. Deeper still is the bathypelagic zone, plunging to 4,000 meters into pure darkness. Finally, at the very bottom lies the abyssopelagic zone. Notice the yellow arrow representing light attenuation. As we travel deeper, sunlight disappears completely, fundamentally changing the environment. Seeing these deep, dark layers might make you wonder why this seemingly empty water matters to us. The truth is, the Oceanic Pelagic Zone is the life support system for our entire planet. The microscopic plants floating in that top sunlit layer, called phytoplankton, produce more than half of the oxygen we breathe every single day. Furthermore, this vast ocean acts as a giant sponge, absorbing massive amounts of carbon dioxide from the atmosphere, which helps slow down global warming. Without this zone, human civilization simply could not survive. Since phytoplankton needs sunlight to produce all that oxygen, we must understand how light travels through water. Sunlight is the primary energy source for these microscopic plants, but seawater is not perfectly transparent. As light enters the ocean, the water molecules absorb and scatter it very quickly. This rapid decrease in light intensity as you go deeper is called light attenuation. It is the exact reason why the deep ocean layers we just saw are completely pitch black. To find out exactly how deep the life-giving sunlit zone extends, we use a specific mathematical law. This brings us to the Beer-Lambert law, which mathematically describes how light fades in the ocean. Conceptually, it shows that light drops off exponentially, not linearly. In this equation, I sub z represents the light intensity at a specific depth, measured in watts per square meter. I sub 0 is the initial light intensity right at the ocean surface. The constant E is the base of the natural logarithm. The symbol K is the light attenuation coefficient. A higher K means the water is murkier and absorbs light faster. Finally, Z is the depth in meters. As depth increases, that negative exponent causes the light intensity to plummet. Let us see this formula in action. We want to find the bottom of the photic zone, defined as the depth where light falls to exactly 1% of the surface light. We are given a surface intensity of 1,000 units and an attenuation coefficient of 0.04 per meter. 1% of 1,000 is 10, so our target intensity is 10. We plug these into the Beer-Lambert law. To isolate the depth Z, we first divide both sides by 1,000, giving us 0.01. Next, we take the natural logarithm of both sides to remove the exponential function. Finally, dividing by negative 0.04 gives us our answer. This means photosynthesis can only occur in the top 115.1 meters of this ocean. Now that we have explored the sunlit surface, let us plunge into the dark depths. Down here, another critical physical factor takes over: hydrostatic pressure. Water is an incredibly heavy substance. As you dive deeper, the weight of all the water above you pushes down on your body. Unlike light, which decreases exponentially, pressure increases linearly with depth, creating a highly extreme environment. This immense crushing force dictates exactly what kind of animals can survive here. Deep-sea creatures must have special adaptations, such as lacking air-filled swim bladders or having gelatinous bodies, just so they do not get crushed. To understand exactly how extreme this environment gets, we calculate the pressure using this formula. Conceptually, the total pressure is just the air pressure pushing on the ocean surface, plus the weight of the water column itself. P represents the total absolute pressure in pascals. P sub ATM is the atmospheric pressure pushing down on the ocean surface. The Greek letter rho represents the density of seawater, which is heavier than freshwater. The symbol G is the acceleration due to Earth's gravity, and Z is the depth in meters. As depth increases, the total pressure increases massively, adding about 1 atmosphere of pressure for every 10 meters you travel downward. Let us calculate the pressure experienced by a rare squid living at a depth of 1,000 meters. We are given the depth, the density of seawater, gravity, and the surface atmospheric pressure. We plug these values into our hydrostatic pressure formula. First, we multiply the density, gravity, and depth together. This tells us that the water column alone exerts over 10 million pascals of pressure. We then add the surface atmospheric pressure to find the absolute total. The final answer is over 10,156,000 pascals. This is roughly 100 times greater than the pressure we feel on land, explaining why bringing these creatures to the surface too quickly is fatal. We have covered a lot of ground today, so let us review our key takeaways. First, the Oceanic Pelagic Zone is a massive, three-dimensional world defined by its complete lack of physical boundaries. Second, it is absolutely vital for our survival, regulating the climate and producing the oxygen we breathe. Third, the physical environment changes drastically with depth. Light attenuation plunges the ocean into darkness, while hydrostatic pressure creates a crushing environment that demands extreme biological adaptations. Understanding these physical forces allows marine biologists to understand how life survives in the largest habitat on Earth. Great job following along, and keep exploring.